Dr. Zixlera, the lead cynobiologist of the Galactic Council's First Contact Division, stared in disbelief at the holographic readouts before her. The data couldn't be right. It simply couldn't. Vreen, run the atmospheric analysis again, she ordered her assistant, her tentacles twitching with anticipation. Vreen, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, nodded and recalibrated the sensors. Analysis complete, Doctor. Results are consistent with the previous scan. Zixlera's compound eyes widened. Impossible. A nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere with these levels of pollutants and radiation. Nothing could survive in these conditions, let alone evolve sapience. The research vessel Stellar Seeker orbited the blue-green planet designated HC 2024, which the native species called Earth. It was the first time the Galactic Council had encountered a civilization on a world classified as extreme on the Galactic Habitability Index. Captain Kroll, a burly Centauri with 4 arms and a perpetual scowl, lumbered onto the bridge. Doctor, what's the holdup? The Council is getting impatient. Are we making contact or not? Zixlera's antennae drooped. Captain, I'm not sure it's safe. The environmental conditions alone. Incoming transmission. Vreen interrupted, their bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a bipedal creature with pinkish-brown skin and a tuft of dark fur on its head. It smiled, displaying a row of blunt teeth. Greetings, visitors. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's Interstellar Relations Coordinator. Welcome to our solar system. The bridge crew stared in stunned silence. Captain Kroll recovered first. Greetings, Dr. Chen. I'm Captain Kroll of the Galactic Council vessel Stellar Seeker. We've come to establish first contact with your species. Dr. Chen's smile widened. Wonderful. We've been eagerly awaiting this moment. Would you like to send a delegation to the surface? We've prepared a reception at our United Nations headquarters. Zixlera interjected, her scientific curiosity overriding her caution. Dr. Chen, our scans indicate extreme environmental conditions on your planet. How does your species survive? The human laughed. Oh, you mean the pollution and radiation. We've been working on cleaning that up. It's not ideal, but we manage. Our bodies are quite adaptable. Captain Kroll and Zixlera exchanged bewildered looks. We'd be honored to send a delegation, Kroll said. However, we'll need to take precautions due to the unique conditions of your world. Of course, Dr. Chen replied. We'll provide any assistance you need. See you soon. The transmission ended, leaving the alien crew in a state of shock. Prepare the environmental suits, Captain Kroll ordered. Doctor, you're with me. Let's see what these humans are all about. Hours later, the delegation stood in the Grand Hall of the United Nations, surrounded by a diverse group of humans from various nations. Despite their bulky protective gear, the aliens felt exposed and vulnerable in this harsh environment. Dr. Chen approached, extending a hand. Welcome to Earth. I hope the suits aren't too uncomfortable. Would you like something to drink? Captain Kroll stared at the offered appendage, unsure of the custom. Drink? In these conditions, a nearby human chuckled. Don't worry, we've got special straws that can penetrate your suits safely. We thought of everything. Zixlera's scientific mind raced. Dr. Chen, how do you cope with the high gravity and the temperature variations? Our data suggests your planet experiences extreme fluctuations. Dr. Chen nodded enthusiastically. Oh, we've adapted over millions of years. Our bodies are pretty tough. As for temperature, we've got clothes for every occasion. Here, let me show you our winter gear. As the humans eagerly displayed their various adaptations and inventions, the alien delegation grew increasingly astonished. These creatures seemed to thrive on challenges, turning environmental hazards into opportunities for innovation. Captain Kroll leaned towards Zixlera. Doctor, I think we may have underestimated these humans. They're unlike anything we've encountered before. Zixlera nodded, her scientific excitement overshadowing her initial fears. "Indeed, Captain. I have a feeling the Galactic Council is in for quite a surprise. These humans, they're going to change everything." As the reception continued, the aliens began to realize that their first contact with humanity was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge everything they thought they knew about life in the universe. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with anticipation. Representatives from 1,000 worlds fidgeted in their anti-grav seats, their varied appendages twitching nervously. Today marked the arrival of Earth's first ambassador to the galactic community, High Counselor Xynthra, a being of pure energy contained within a shimmering force field, called for order. "Esteemed colleagues, today we welcome humanity into our ranks. Please compose yourselves." The massive doors swung open, and a lone figure strode in. Ambassador Jack Harper cut an imposing figure in his crisp black suit, his salt and pepper hair neatly combed. He grinned broadly, seemingly oblivious to the tension in the room. "Greetings, members of the Galactic Council." Jack's voice boomed, amplified by the chamber's acoustics. "On behalf of Earth and humanity, I thank you for this warm welcome." A murmur rippled through the audience. Warm. The temperature had been carefully calibrated to an uncomfortably chilly level for most species, a standard diplomatic tactic to keep meetings brief and focused. Xynthra's energy form pulsed. "Ambassador Harper, we're honored by your presence. However, I must inquire, where is your protective gear? Our atmosphere is not suited for human physiology." Jack chuckled, patting his chest. "Oh, this little thing. It's a nanotech atmospheric converter. Turns your air into something I can breathe. No bulky suit required. One of our latest innovations." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Such technology was decades beyond what they'd estimated Earth capable of producing. "Now then," Jack continued, clapping his hands together, "I've got a list of proposals to really shake things up around here. First off, who's up for a Galactic Olympics?" For the next hour, Ambassador Harper laid out a series of increasingly outlandish proposals. He suggested establishing extreme tourism packages to Earth's most dangerous locations, argued for the inclusion of humans in previously restricted xenobiology experiments, and even proposed a galactic cultural exchange program centered around Earth's most thrilling experiences. The council members listened in a mixture of horror and fascination. Counselor Zrek, a methane-breathing Jovian, finally spoke up. "Ambassador, while we appreciate your enthusiasm, many of these proposals seem incredibly dangerous. Surely you understand the risks involved." Jack's grin never faltered. "Risks? Counselor, where we come from, risk is just another word for opportunity. Take your breath, for instance. On Earth, we consider methane a deadly gas. But look at you, breathing it like it's no big deal. We humans believe in pushing boundaries. It's how we've survived and thrived on our death world, as you call it." The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. High Counselor Xynthra's form flickered rapidly, a sign of agitation. "Ambassador Harper, we appreciate your species' resilience, but the Galactic Council prioritizes safety and stability. Your proposals would upend centuries of established protocols." "With all due respect, High Counselor," Jack countered, his tone suddenly serious, "those protocols have also led to stagnation. How long has it been since the Council faced a real challenge? Humanity is offering you a chance to grow, to evolve. Isn't that what life in this vast universe is all about?" A tense silence fell over the chamber. Many council members shifted uncomfortably, while others nodded thoughtfully. Ambassador Harper softened his approach. "Look, I understand this is a lot to take in. We humans can be intense, but we're also incredibly adaptable. We're not asking you to change overnight. Let's start small. How about a cultural exchange program? A few volunteers from different species living on Earth for a while, and we'll send some humans to your worlds. A chance to learn from each other, face to face." High Counselor Xynthra's form stabilized. "A more modest proposal, Ambassador. We will consider it, but I must warn you, If we agree, the safety of all participants will be our highest priority. Jack nodded, his eyes twinkling. Of course, High Counselor. We wouldn't have it any other way. Trust me, by the time this exchange is over, you'll see humanity in a whole new light. As the session adjourned, the council members filed out, their conversations a mix of excitement and apprehension. Ambassador Jack Harper stood alone in the center of the chamber, a satisfied smile on his face. The first step had been taken. Humanity was about to make its mark on the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same. The shuttle touched down in a field outside New York City, its sleek form a stark contrast to the lush green grass surrounding it. As the door hissed open, 5 diverse alien beings stepped out, their eyes wide with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Dr. Emily Rodriguez, the Earth coordinator for the Galactic Exchange Program, greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome to Earth. I hope your journey was comfortable." Zix, a bioluminescent, tentacled Luminian, pulsed with nervous energy. "The journey was intense. Your solar radiation is quite strong." "Oh, that's nothing," Emily laughed. "Wait until you experience our beaches. Now, let's get you all settled in your new homes." The group consisted of Zix the Luminian, Gruk a rock-like Petrosian, Lyra an avian Aetherian, Vox a gaseous nebulite contained in a hovering sphere, and Kithal a reptilian saurian. Each had volunteered to spend 6 Earth months living among humans, learning their culture and testing their adaptability. As they drove into the city, the aliens pressed against the windows, marveling at the towering skyscrapers and the throngs of humans going about their daily lives. "Incredible," Lyra chirped, her feathers ruffling. "How do you manage such population density without conflict?" Emily chuckled. "Oh, we have our share of conflicts, but we've learned to coexist. Mostly." Their first stop was a local diner. As they entered, the patrons stared in amazement, but quickly returned to their meals, a testament to New Yorkers' famous unflappability. "Now," Emily said, handing out menus, "let's introduce you to some Earth cuisine." What followed was a chaotic blur of new experiences. Grok discovered a love for spicy foods, his rocky exterior crackling with delight as he devoured a plate of buffalo wings. Zix, initially hesitant, found the texture of spaghetti oddly comforting. Lyra pecked curiously at a salad, while Vox absorbed the aromas through specially designed filters. Thal, however, stared at his burger in confusion. "You cook the flesh of other animals and put it between pieces of plant matter." "It's called a burger," Emily explained. "It's quite popular. Give it a try." Reluctantly, Thal took a bite. His eyes widened in surprise. This is acceptable." As the weeks passed, the aliens found themselves thrust into the whirlwind of human life. They attended a Broadway show, marveling at the humans' ability to convey complex emotions through song and dance. They visited museums, learning about Earth's tumultuous history and diverse cultures. But it wasn't all easy. Grok found himself constantly apologizing for accidentally crushing furniture, while Zix had to learn to control his bioluminescence to avoid causing traffic accidents at night. Lyra struggled with the concept of indoor spaces, often perching on top of refrigerators or bookcases instead of using chairs. 1 month into the program, Emily decided it was time for a true human experience. A theme park. As they approached the towering roller coaster, Vox's gaseous form swirled anxiously inside its sphere. "Is this safe?" Vox asked, eyeing the screaming humans plummeting down the tracks. Emily grinned. "Absolutely. Well, mostly. There's always a small risk, but that's part of the fun." To everyone's surprise, it was Kthul who stepped forward first. "I will try this roller coaster. For science, of course." As the ride took off, Kithul's initial stoicism gave way to a mix of terror and exhilaration. By the end, the Saurian was laughing uncontrollably, his usual reserve shattered. "Again," Kithul demanded as they disembarked. "We must experience this again." The day continued with more rides, games, and an overindulgence in cotton candy that left Zix hiccuping small luminescent bubbles. As they sat watching the fireworks that evening, exhausted but content, Lyra turned to Emily. "I think I understand now," she said softly. "Humans don't just survive their harsh world. You embrace it, find joy in it. It's beautiful." Emily smiled, a hint of pride in her eyes. "That's us in a nutshell. Life's full of challenges, so we've learned to enjoy the ride." Grok rumbled in agreement. "Perhaps there is wisdom in the human way. To face danger with a smile, to find thrill and risk. It is not our way, but it has its merits." As the last fireworks faded, the aliens found themselves looking at their human hosts with new respect. They were only halfway through their stay on Earth, and already their perceptions had been fundamentally changed. What other surprises did this strange, wonderful world have in store for them? Little did they know, their greatest challenge was yet to come, as Earth prepared to introduce them to the chaotic world of human sports. The vast stadium buzzed with an electric atmosphere as beings from across the galaxy filled the stands. Holographic displays flickered with statistics and player profiles, while announcers from 100 worlds babbled excitedly in a cacophony of languages. In the participants' tunnel, Dr. Emily Rodriguez paced nervously. "Are you sure about this?" she asked Ambassador Jack Harper, who stood grinning beside her. "Relax, Em," Jack said, clapping her on the shoulder. "The intergalactic friendship games are going to be a hit. Nothing brings people together like a little friendly competition." Emily sighed. "I just hope your definition of friendly aligns with the rest of the galaxies." The alien exchange participants huddled nearby, a mix of excitement and apprehension on their diverse faces. Kthal, the Saurian, was stretching his powerful legs, while Zix, the Luminian, pulsed with nervous energy. "Remember," Emily addressed the group, "this is about cultural exchange and understanding. It's not about winning," Jack interrupted with a wink. "But if you do win, that's great too." As they entered the arena, the roar of the crowd washed over them. The stadium was a marvel of engineering, with sections adapted for every conceivable environment. Aquatic species floated in suspended water bubbles, while Methane brothers enjoyed their own sealed-off areas. The first event was a variation of soccer, adapted for multiple physiologies. Teams were mixed, with humans playing alongside their alien counterparts. As the game began, it quickly became apparent that each species brought unique advantages and challenges to the field. Grok, the Petrosian, proved to be an immovable goalkeeper, but his rocky form left deep gouges in the turf every time he moved. Lyra, the Aetherian, was incredibly agile in the air, but struggled with ground play. Zix's bioluminescent flashes, while unintentional, were proving to be quite distracting to the other players. The human players, however, showcased their adaptability. They quickly adjusted their strategy, using each species' strengths to their advantage. Jack, serving as team captain, was in his element, shouting encouragement and coordinating plays with boundless enthusiasm. As the game reached its climax, with scores tied and seconds left on the clock, Jack received a pass. He dribbled past two defenders, his eyes fixed on the goal. A massive Jovian floated in his path, its gaseous form nearly impossible to bypass. Without hesitation, Jack leaped, using Lyra's outstretched wing as a springboard. He soared over the Jovian, twisting in midair to kick the ball. It rocketed past the goalkeeper's tentacles and into the net just as the buzzer sounded. The stadium erupted in cheers. Even those who hadn't fully grasped the rules could appreciate the spectacle they'd just witnessed. Jack landed hard, tumbling across the field, but popped up with a triumphant grin, raising his arms in victory. As medics rushed to check on him, Emily facepalmed. "This is exactly what I was worried about," she muttered. But to her surprise, the alien players crowded around Jack, chittering and rumbling with excitement. Kthal helped the ambassador to his feet, his scaly face stretched in what might have been a smile. "That was most invigorating," Kthal admitted. I believe I understand now why humans engage in such risky behaviors. Zix pulsed in agreement. The thrill, the teamwork, the shared goal. It's not so different from how we Luminians commune with our collective consciousness. As the day progressed, more events followed. There was a swimming competition that left human participants gasping for breath as they competed against species evolved for aquatic life. A zero-gravity obstacle course had everyone fumbling and laughing as they attempted to navigate in unfamiliar conditions. But it was the final event that truly captured the spirit of the games, a massive interdimensional puzzle that required cooperation from all species to solve. Humans contributed their out-of-the-box thinking, while aliens applied their unique perspectives and abilities. As the puzzle's final piece clicked into place, a shimmering hologram of a united galaxy appeared above the stadium. The crowd fell silent for a moment before erupting into thunderous applause. Ambassador Jack Harper, his arm in a sling but his spirit undampened, addressed the audience. This, my friends, is what humanity brings to the galactic community. Not just our strength or our adaptability, but our ability to bring people together, to find common ground in our differences, and to turn challenges into opportunities for growth. As the closing ceremonies began, Emily watched the mingling crowds with a mixture of relief and pride. Humans and aliens alike were chatting animatedly, exchanging stories and contact information. "Okay, I'll admit it," she said, turning to Jack. "This wasn't a complete disaster. In fact, it might have been a stroke of genius." Jack grinned. "Just wait until they hear about our plans for the Extreme Sports Galactic Championship." Emily groaned, but couldn't hide her smile. The galaxy would never be the same, and perhaps that wasn't such a bad thing after all. Alarms blared through the cavernous mining facility on Xenon 7, a planet notorious for its harsh conditions and valuable mineral deposits. The facility's supervisor, a multi-limbed arachnoid named Vistik, scuttled frantically between holographic displays. "Status report." Vist chittered anxiously. A methane-breathing Jovian floated nearby, its gaseous form swirling with concern. "Seismic activity has compromised the main shaft. We have multiple cave-ins, and the atmospheric regulators are failing. Toxic gas is seeping in from the planet's core." Vistik's compound eyes widened in horror. "Evacuate all personnel immediately. Send out a distress signal to the nearest." "Wait," interrupted a voice from the corner. Dr. Ayana Okafor, the human xenogeologist assigned to the facility, stepped forward. "We can't abandon the miners trapped in the lower levels. I'm going in after them." Vistik's mandibles clacked in disbelief. "Impossible. The conditions down there are lethal, even for our most resilient species. No offense, Dr. Okafor, but human physiology is more adaptable than you think." Ayana finished, already donning an exosuit. "Besides, I've brought some tricks from Earth that might just save the day." Before anyone could protest further, Ayana was sprinting towards the elevator shaft, a backpack full of mysterious equipment slung over her shoulder. As she descended into the chaotic darkness below, Ayana's mind raced. The situation reminded her of the coal mine collapses she'd studied back on Earth, but with added complications of alien geology and physiology. Reaching the first cave-in, Ayana activated her suit's enhanced strength mode. With a grunt, she began clearing debris, creating a path through the rubble. The toxic atmosphere seeped through micro-fractures in the tunnel walls, but her suit's filtration system held steady. "Dr. Okafor," a weak voice called out. Ayana rushed forward to find a group of miners, a mix of silicon-based Petrosians and methane-breathing Jovians, huddled in a small pocket of safety. "I'm here to get you out," Ayana assured them, her voice calm despite the dire circumstances. She reached into her backpack and pulled out what looked like a child's toy, a bottle of soap solution and a large plastic ring. The aliens watched in confusion as Ayana dipped the ring into the solution and waved it through the air. A massive, shimmering bubble formed, growing to encompass the entire group. "Portable force field," Ayana explained with a grin. Inspired by the surface tension of soap bubbles, it'll protect us from the toxic atmosphere as we move. As they navigated the treacherous tunnels, Ayanna used more items from her seemingly magical backpack. A spray that hardened into instant support struts, a device that neutralized pockets of toxic gas through a catalytic reaction. Each invention drew amazed looks from the alien miners. How did you prepare for this?" asked one of the Petrosians, his crystalline structure vibrating with curiosity. Ayanna chuckled as she used a laser cutter to clear another path. "On Earth, we have a saying, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Our history is full of disasters, so we've learned to be ready for anything." Finally, they'd reached the main shaft, but the elevator was non-functional. The toxic atmosphere was thickening, and even Ayanna's miraculous bubble wouldn't hold much longer. "Now what?" a Jovian asked, its gaseous form swirling anxiously. Ayanna unfolded what looked like a large kite from her pack. "Now we improvise. Everyone hold on tight." Using the upward draft from the planet's core, combined with some cleverly placed propulsion units, Ayanna turned the kite into a makeshift elevator. They soared up the shaft, the bubble barely holding as they reached the surface. As they emerged into the facility's main chamber, the assembled aliens burst into cheers. Vist scuttled forward, mandibles agape in astonishment. "Dr. Okafor, that was unprecedented. How did you?" Ayanna held up a hand, grinning despite her exhaustion. "Just doing what humans do best, adapting and overcoming. Now let's focus on stabilizing the facility and preventing future incidents." In the days that followed, news of the daring rescue spread across the galaxy. Ayanna found herself inundated with questions about human ingenuity and adaptability. She patiently explained each of her inventions, emphasizing the long history of human problem-solving that led to their creation. As she prepared to return to Earth, Ayanna received a message from the Galactic Council. They were interested in establishing a new division, the Rapid Response and Innovation Team, with humans playing a key role. Ayanna smiled as she read the proposal. It seemed that humanity's unique approach to challenges was finally being recognized as an asset rather than a liability. The galaxy was beginning to understand that sometimes the most unlikely solutions come from the most unlikely places. As her ship lifted off from Xenon 7, Ayanna couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had taken another step towards proving its worth in the galactic community, not through force or intimidation, but through creativity, courage, and an unwavering spirit of exploration. The Galactic Council's war room was a hive of frantic activity. Holographic displays flickered with real-time battle data, showing the inexorable advance of the Skirth swarm, a hive-mind species intent on consuming all in its path. High Counselor Xinthra's energy form pulsed with distress. "Our defenses are failing. The Skirth adapt too quickly to our tactics. Is there no hope?" A gravelly voice cut through the chaos. "There's always hope, Counselor. You just need to think outside the box." All eyes turned to the speaker, General Sarah Chen, Earth's military attaché to the Galactic Council. She stood confidently, her battle-scarred armor a stark contrast to the flowing robes of the alien diplomats. Xinthra's form stabilized slightly. "General Chen, we welcome Earth's input, but what could your young species possibly offer against such a threat?" Sarah smiled grimly. "Counselor, humanity has been perfecting the art of warfare for millennia. We've learned a thing or two about facing overwhelming odds." She stepped forward, manipulating the holographic display with practiced ease. "The Skirth operate as a perfect hive mind, correct? That's their strength, but also their weakness. We don't need to defeat their entire force. We just need to disrupt their communication." The alien representatives murmured skeptically, but Sarah pressed on. "On Earth, we developed a tactic called guerrilla warfare. Small, highly mobile units striking critical targets and disappearing before the enemy can respond." She outlined her plan. A series of surgical strikes on the Skirth's central communication nodes, combined with electronic warfare to sow confusion in their ranks. It was bold, risky, and unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever attempted. "This is madness," protested a methane-breathing Jovian. "The casualties would be enormous." Sarah's eyes hardened. "With all due respect, the casualties will be far worse if we do nothing. Sometimes you have to risk everything to save everything." After heated debate, the Council reluctantly agreed to Sarah's plan. A joint task force was assembled, with humans working alongside the best warriors from across the galaxy. As they prepared for the mission, Sarah found herself explaining human military concepts to her alien comrades. The Aetherian air support was baffled by the idea of dogfighting. The Petrosian heavy infantry struggled to grasp hit-and-run tactics, and trying to explain the concept of playing possum to the literal-minded logicians nearly caused an interspecies incident. Yet as they trained, something remarkable happened. The aliens began to adapt, combining human strategies with their own unique abilities. The Aetherians developed complex aerial maneuvers that no human pilot could hope to match. The Petrosians turned their natural armor into mobile cover for their more vulnerable teammates. Even the logicians found elegant applications for human deception tactics, creating elaborate feints within feints. The day of the attack arrived. As their stealth ships approached the first Skirth communication node, Sarah addressed her diverse team. "Remember, we're not just fighting for our individual worlds. We're fighting for the right of all species to exist freely, no matter our differences. Today we stand as one." The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. Human special forces worked in perfect sync with Aetherian air support, darting between Skirth defenses. Petrosian heavies absorbed punishment that would have vaporized any other species, allowing their teammates to plant demolition charges on critical infrastructure. Sarah led from the front, her tactical acumen and personal bravery inspiring the joint force to heights of heroism. As each communication node fell, the once unified Skirth forces fell into disarray. The final push came as they assaulted the central hive mind nexus. With their communication in tatters, the Skirth fell back on simple, predictable strategies, exactly as Sarah had predicted. The Joint Task Force exploited every weakness, every moment of confusion. As the last Skirth drones fell and the hive mind signal went dark, a cheer went up from the battered but victorious coalition. Sarah allowed herself a small smile before calling for medics and damage reports. The battle was won, but the war wasn't over. Back at the Galactic Council, the mood was one of jubilant disbelief. High Counselor Xinthra's energy form glowed brightly as Sarah delivered her report. "General Chen," Xinthra said, "you and your team have accomplished the impossible. The galaxy owes you a debt it can never repay." Sarah shook her head. "The victory belongs to all of us, Counselor. Humans may have provided the strategies, but it was the courage and adaptability of every species that won the day." As the council chambers erupted in celebration, Sarah couldn't help but reflect on how far humanity had come. From isolated species on a death world to key players in a galactic conflict, humans had proven their worth not just through strength or technology, but through their unique perspective and indomitable spirit. The galaxy would never be the same, and perhaps, Sarah mused, that was exactly what it needed. The Grand Hall of Harmony on the Galactic Council's capital world was filled to capacity. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had gathered for an unprecedented event, the official recognition of humanity's unique role in the galactic community. High Counselor Xinthra's energy form shimmered at the podium, addressing the assembled dignitaries. "Friends, allies, sentients of all kinds, we stand at a turning point in galactic history. The recent Skirth conflict has shown us that diversity is not just a virtue, it is our greatest strength." The counselor's gaze swept the room, settling on the Earth delegation. Ambassador Jack Harper sat with his typical easy smile, while General Sarah Chen stood at attention nearby. Dr. Emily Rodriguez and Dr. Ayana Okafor completed the group, representing the scientific and exploratory spirit of humanity. Humanity, Synthra continued, has challenged our preconceptions at every turn. We saw their homeworld as a death trap. They saw it as a crucible of innovation. We feared their adaptability. They showed us how it could save us all. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Even former skeptics nodded, remembering the crucial role humans had played in recent events. Today, we do not just welcome humanity as equals. We recognize them as teachers, as catalysts for change that our galaxy sorely needed. As Synthra spoke, holographic displays activated around the hall, showing key moments from humanity's journey in the galactic community. The first contact, the cultural exchange program, the intergalactic friendship games, the daring rescue on Xenon 7, and finally, the victory against the Skirth. But embracing humanity's gifts does not come without challenges, Synthra cautioned. Their propensity for risk, their sometimes reckless creativity, these are double-edged swords. Our task now is to find balance, to temper human audacity with the wisdom of older races. Ambassador Harper stepped up to the podium, his expression uncharacteristically serious. High Counselor, esteemed representatives, on behalf of Earth, I thank you for this recognition. But I must stress, we don't see ourselves as teachers, merely as partners. He grinned, his usual charm returning. Sure, we humans have a knack for thinking outside the box. But that's only useful when there's a box to think outside of. Your civilizations, your perspectives, your unique evolutionary paths, these are what give our crazy ideas context and purpose. The ambassador gestured to his fellow humans. Sarah's battle strategies would have been useless without the incredible beings who executed them. Ayana's inventions on Xenon 7 were inspired by alien environments and challenges, and Emily's cultural exchange program has taught us as much as it's taught you. He paused, letting his words sink in. We humans are paradoxes, yes. We're fragile yet resilient, reckless yet calculating, divided yet united. But isn't that true of all sentient life? Of the galaxy itself? The hall was silent, all eyes fixed on Harper. Moving forward, he continued, we propose a new initiative. Not just cultural exchanges, not just military alliances, but a true interspecies think tank. Imagine the Aetherian gift for abstract thought combined with Petrosian pragmatism and human creativity. Imagine logician analysis tempered by Luminian empathy and human intuition. Excited whispers broke out across the hall. Species that had long remained isolated began to consider the possibilities of true collaboration. High Counselor Xinthra's form pulsed with approval. An ambitious proposal, Ambassador, and one that embodies the very spirit we are celebrating today. As the Assembly voted overwhelmingly to approve the initiative, Dr. Rodriguez leaned towards Dr. Okafor. Did you ever imagine it would come to this when you first set foot on Xenon 7? Ayana shook her head, smiling. Never. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The unknown, the unexpected. That's where humanity thrives. General Chen overheard and nodded. It's ironic. Our greatest strength turned out to be the very thing that initially made the galaxy fear us. As the celebration began in earnest, with humans and aliens mingling freely, Ambassador Harper rejoined his team. Well, folks, we did it. We've given the galaxy a little shake-up. The question is, Sarah mused, watching an Aetherian attempt to teach a Jovian a human dance, are they ready for what comes next? Jack laughed. Ready or not, the future's coming. And for the first time, we're all facing it together. As the festivities continued, the human paradox was no longer something to be feared or merely tolerated. It had become a catalyst for a new age of galactic cooperation and discovery. The journey hadn't been easy, and challenges undoubtedly lay ahead. But as humans and aliens alike looked to the stars, they did so not with trepidation, but with a shared sense of wonder and possibility. The galaxy had embraced the paradox, and in doing so, had opened the door to limitless potential.